They set me up. My own family invited me to a fancy steakhouse, not to reconnect, but to stick me with a $3,000 bill they had no intention of ever paying themselves. Growing up, I was always the black sheep, the quiet, nerdy kid who just didn't fit. While my cousins were all about weekend parties and designer clothes, I was the one with my head buried in books, learning, working, and just trying to find a way out of that suffocating environment. I never cared about impressing them, especially my arrogant, self-absorbed relatives. But life has a funny way of working out. I poured everything I had into my work, built something from nothing, and ended up making more money than any of them could dream of. Not that they ever acknowledged it. To them, my success was invisible until they figured out how they could profit from it. And that brings us to tonight. Honestly, I hadn't planned on ever seeing them again. I'd spent years dodging these family dinners. They were always the same predictable torture. Condescending little remarks, fake smiles, and the constant, unspoken reminder that no matter what I did, I'd always just be Mark the family joke. But my mom, bless her heart, she begged me. Just one dinner, Mark. For me. It's been years. I caved, and I regretted it the second I walked into that ridiculously overpriced steakhouse. The whole clan was already there, spread out at a long table, laughing it up like they were in some gangster movie. And right in the middle of it all was my cousin Jason, my personal tormentor from childhood, grinning like he owned the entire city. The moment his eyes met mine, that grin got wider and meaner. Oh, wow. Look who decided to grace us with his presence, Jason boomed, leaning back so far in his chair I thought he'd fall over. His voice was loud enough to make other diners turn and look. Didn't think he had time for us little people, big shot. I just forced a polite smile and went to pull out an empty chair at the end of the table. Jason's face soured. Sorry, Mark. That seat's taken. I looked around. The only other empty seats were right next to Jason or his equally smug sister, Rachel. Okay. I reached for a different chair. Rachel just rolled her eyes. That one too. I blinked. You gotta be kidding me. Jason chuckled, leaning forward and planting his elbows on the table. Mark, buddy, this table is for family. You can find a spot outside. Laughter. Not from everyone, but from enough of them that my jaw just locked. I could feel the anger starting to simmer. My mom looked miserable, but she didn't say a word. She never did. My aunt was smirking. My uncle just shook his head like I was some pathetic stray that had wandered in. And Jason looked so damn pleased with himself. I could have left. I probably should have left. But instead, I smiled. A real smile. Outside, huh? Nah, I think I'll stay. I walked over to an empty two-top, grabbed a chair, and dragged it right up to their table. I wasn't in the circle, but I was close enough. I was technically there. A waiter came over, looking confused, but I just waved him off and ordered coffee. Jason and Rachel exchanged a look, but they let it go. For now. Then the real performance began. I wasn't an idiot. I knew exactly why I was there. They didn't want to catch up. They wanted to flex. All through dinner, they made a massive show of ordering the most expensive things on the menu. I'll take the Wagyu, Jason announced, snapping his menu shut. And the lobster. Oh, and another round of drinks for the whole table. He shot a little smirk my way. We're celebrating, after all. Rachel grinned. Yeah, we should really live it up tonight. Desserts, too. Get the most expensive ones, my uncle chimed in. The waiters just kept coming. The bill just kept climbing. And I said nothing. I just sipped my coffee and watched them, a small, amused smile playing on my lips. Finally, when every plate was clean, every wine glass was empty, and they were all leaning back with satisfied groans, the waiter arrived. He placed the check, folded in a leather billfold, directly in front of me. $3,247. Jason stretched lazily. You got this, right, Mark? Rachel giggled. Come on, it's nothing to you. Silence. The entire table was just staring at me, waiting. I let the moment hang in the air. Then I slowly picked up the bill, glanced at it like I actually cared about the number, and let out a soft chuckle. Jason frowned. "What's so funny?" I leaned back, took another slow sip of my coffee, and my smile widened. "Oh," I said, my voice calm. "You guys have absolutely no idea who's covering this tonight." And with that, I placed the bill right back on the table, directly in front of Jason. He just stared at it, blinking, as if his brain couldn't process what just happened. I watched the confusion ripple across the table like a shockwave. "Wait, you're serious?" Jason's voice was a little quieter now, a nervous tremor creeping in. His confident grin was gone. I didn't answer right away. I just took another long, slow sip of my coffee, watching his face morph from confusion to realization to pure, unfiltered panic. Rachel, sensing the shift, tried to play it cool. "Isn't your company doing well, Mark?" she asked, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Surely a little dinner like this won't put a dent in your wallet." There it was. The entitlement. The casual assumption that their indulgence was my responsibility, simply because I could afford it. They didn't care about the years I busted my ass, building my business from the ground up. All they saw was a walking ATM. Jason tried again, his voice more forceful. "Come on, Mark. You know you can afford it. The bill's huge, but you're a businessman, right? Just swipe the card." My mother, who'd been a statue this whole time, finally spoke. "Mark, honey, please. It's just a family gathering." Her voice trailed off. She was trying to keep the peace, like always, but I could hear the frustration in her tone. She knew what they were doing. She knew it was wrong, but she never dared to say it out loud. I set my coffee cup down. "You know," I said, my voice calm and even, "you're right. I'll pay the bill." A wave of relieved sighs washed over the table. A few of them even patted me on the back, like I'd finally seen the light. Jason's face lit up. "See? That wasn't so hard, was it? Thanks, big shot." I leaned forward, my smile never leaving my face. "Actually," I said, "I changed my mind. Good luck, guys." The silence was instantaneous. It was like someone hit a mute button on the entire restaurant. For a second, nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Jason's face went from relief to a dark, stormy rage. He opened his mouth to protest, but I was already standing up, reaching for my jacket. "By the way," I added, my voice low and sharp, "if you don't want to be responsible for a bill this big, maybe you should think about how much you order next time." I started to walk away. Not toward the exit, just toward the lounge area a few feet away. I wanted them to feel the tension. I wanted them to sweat. "Hey," Jason snapped. "You can't just." "I'll be over there," I called back without turning around. "Let me know when you figure it out." Sinking into a plush armchair in the lounge, I glanced back. I could see them huddled together, whispering frantically. Jason, Rachel, my mom, my uncle, they were in full-blown panic mode. I could almost hear their thoughts. "He's not really going to do this, is he? Who has a credit card? Do we have enough?" The desperation was beautiful. They were about to learn a very expensive lesson. Minutes ticked by. I scrolled through my phone, acting completely unbothered, but I was watching. The waiter was hovering near their table, arms crossed, giving them the side eye. It wasn't long before Jason came shuffling over, looking like he'd just been told he had to wash all the dishes. "Mark," he started, trying to sound reasonable. "This isn't funny. The bill is way higher than we thought. Can you just help us out? We're family, right?" I almost laughed out loud. "Oh, I'm not laughing, Jason. I'm dead serious. You guys wanted this feast. You ordered whatever you wanted without even asking. And now you expect me to pay for it all." He swallowed hard. "Look, man, we didn't realize. I mean, can't you just help?" This was the same old tired act. No self-awareness. No accountability. "Jason, I'm done playing this game," I said, my voice flat. "You're all adults. You can afford your own meals. I'm not your bank anymore." His face shifted from desperation to anger. "So, you just going to let us pay for all of this? After everything we've done for you?" I gave him a dead-eyed stare. "You mean all the times you've asked me for money? That doesn't count as being there for me, Jason." Behind him, Rachel and my mom were watching, their anxiety growing by the second. "Well, we can't just leave." Rachel's voice was high-pitched with stress. "We can't just walk out on a $3,000 bill." I raised an eyebrow. "No one's walking out, Rachel. You guys are staying, and you're paying." I stood up, straightening my jacket. "I can't afford it," I said, looking right at my mom. "But you can. Jason can. Rachel can. I'm not cleaning up your mess this time." I caught the waiter's eye, gave him a small, final nod, and walked toward the exit without a single look back. I heard their frantic whispers, then the clatter of heels on the pavement behind me. "Mark, wait." It was Rachel. I kept walking. "You can't just leave us like this. Please, we need you." I finally stopped and turned around. "You think I don't know what you're doing, Rachel? Every time something comes up, it's Mark will cover it. It's never, 'Hey Mark, how are you?' It's always about what you can get from me." "Well, I'm done." Her face flushed with a mix of guilt and anger. Just then, Jason and my mom burst out of the restaurant, looking completely frazzled. "Mark, please," my mom begged, her voice cracking. "We can't afford this. You're the only one who can help." And in that moment, watching their panic, I didn't feel an ounce of pity. I just felt satisfaction. "No," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "It's always been about the money for you. The second you thought I'd pay, you stopped seeing me as a person. You saw me as an ATM. You made your bed. Now lie in it." I got in my car and started the engine. In my rearview mirror, I could see their stunned, desperate faces frozen in the parking lot. As I drove away, I didn't feel angry or guilty. I just felt free. By the time I got home, I had 6 missed calls and a text from Rachel. "Mark, we're really sorry. Please come back. We'll pay you back. Please don't leave us like this." I didn't reply. A few minutes later, another text. "We can't pay the bill. It's $3,000. Please help." I sat on my couch, cracked open a beer, and just let the silence of my apartment wash over me. The phone buzzed again. It was Jason. "Mark," he pleaded, "we get it. You're mad. But you have to help us." "Jason," I said, my voice cold as ice. "I already told you. This is not my problem. You're grown-ups. You'll figure it out." I could hear the sheer panic in his voice, and I held back a smile. "If I keep bailing you out, you'll never learn." "Good luck, Jason," I said, even colder now. "You're going to need it." And I hung up. The next day, I found out they'd had to make a series of humiliating calls to their own friends, begging for money. They even had to take out a loan to cover the rest. The restaurant manager apparently tore into them for their entitlement. They were mortified. And me? I felt nothing but peace. The real victory wasn't watching them squirm. It was the feeling of finally, after all these years, drawing a line in the sand. I wasn't their safety net anymore. I wasn't their fool. I had finally learned that sometimes the only way to truly love your family is to let them stand on their own 2 feet, even if it means they fall flat on their face. It was their turn to figure it out.